So a lizard walks into a bar. Barman looks at the lizard and says, "Hey, I've got a drink named after you." The lizard looks at the barman and says, "What? You've got a drink named Steve?"
G'day, I'm Waz.
And I'm Nic, sometimes Coxie, mostly Nic.
This is the Tradies in Business podcast, and we're here to share a bunch of tips, ideas, tactics that you can put in place to get change happening in your trade business right now.
If you're really lucky, we're going to entertain you with a few mum jokes, and more importantly, a bunch of fantastic guests that will educate you in all things you need to know about trade business. But we do promise to do it with a whole bunch of fun along the way.
I'm a self-confessed idiot, so strap yourself in and enjoy another episode.
So much better than my jokes.
Oh dear. Hello, Ben. Your name isn't
How's it
Steve.
going?
Have you got any other names that you get called, mate, other than Ben?
Ben Chicken?
Ben Chicken?
Were you called that prior to, I think it was the first conference, wasn't it? Were you called that prior to that? You were. You've
No,
always
no. I was not. I've never been called Ben Chicken until my tradiepreneur community.
So it's our fault.
Yeah.
I'd like to apologise on behalf of everybody here at Tradies in Business for you being known as Ben Chicken. It's a bit uncomplimentary.
Oh, I do like the name. We've got a couple of bin chickens that hang around the house sometimes, and I feel like I'm part of their community too.
Do you have bin chickens in New Zealand?
No.
Oh.
Nah, first time I saw one, I was a little bit dumbfounded at how ugly they were.
That's not why you're called bin chicken. Just for our listeners' benefit. Ben, you have been a part of our community for a while now. You're a stayer. You've got staying power, mate. And we want to chat to you about a couple of things today. We want to chat to you about business awards. We've been talking about this a bit on the podcast lately, obviously, or maybe not for our listeners. The Tradies in Business Excellence Awards are coming up in about 6 weeks' time, Nic.
The entries close any day.
Ceremony thing. I think it's only a couple of days before they close.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't extracted your digit and thrown your hat in the ring, we're hoping today gives you some impetus, some inspo to go ahead and do that.
Really floating the line here between what's appropriate and what's not with some of your words today. I feel like
I don't know what you're talking about. Impetus is an English word.
I know what the word is. I know what the thing.
Unlike bin chicken. So I wondered, Coxie, if we should just get Ben to give our listeners a bit of context on. Ben, can you tell the gang tuning in, perhaps a bit about your business, but also a bit about your evolution over the past few years?
Yeah, I sure can. Well, I'm Ben Chicken, and I own and operate a heavy diesel contracting company that looks after drill rigs and all associated equipment up north in the Pilbara and around WA. I started with Tradies in Business in 2021, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And my evolution from being with the group has been quite amazing. It's sort of left me in a place where all of the time when I don't know something, it is so easy to find out what I do need to know. And it's helped me shape what the company is today, which is a nice company.
You're going to say something else then, mate.
Yeah, I held back.
Oh, dear. It's been a journey, Ben. I almost feel like we need a translator because I forget how thick your accent can be at times. And I almost feel like we need a translator for those Australians that are not real au fait with your beautiful Kiwi accent. But I forget how big a journey you've had in the time you've been in business. You were one of the rare clients we got to work with prior to starting your business. I still remember the very first time we met you and asking the question if you were okay for us to push your timeline, because I think you had a 6 to 9 month window in which you were going to start business. and we wanted to push you. And if my memory serves me correctly, and it might not, I think it was about 4 months later you stepped out on your own. Is that about right?
Yeah, that is about right. I still remember the first time I talked to you guys as well.
I hope your memory is as lovely as ours are.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Good.
It's subdued.
So it's, it's quite rare we get to work with people prior to them starting their business. And your journey from the very first conversation through to starting the business and then through to now, some 3 years later, has just been an incredible transformation. I wonder if you could share a bit about, I guess, how you started, how you came to make that decision to start a business, and what it looks like now in terms of your business and your business model.
Yeah. So the reason for starting the business was primarily with thoughts and moving back home to New Zealand one day and knowing that it would be hard to have a good life in New Zealand without, having a business and some sort of control as to build your life around it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the main thing that ended up starting Moa. And at the start, I suppose you could say it was just purely labour hire, essentially contracting out and doing the job for hours. And that's how I sort of started everything, which was a great way to do it. And it made it easy to run up until the point where sort of needed something more. And from your teaching, knowing that hours for time is not scalable for one person. Mm-hmm. And there has to be something more, which is when the sort of evolution started into seeing what other things can I offer that do not rely on time for money, which again leads back to the whole thing, being able to build something around something into your life that lets you live a life without having to work every hour for it. Which admittedly I still work a lot. but it's still building things around that support my life outside of hourly work. And it's been fantastic. It's been a long journey.
It's been, and I want to pull you on that only because, yes, it's a long journey for you, having been not stuck in it, but you're in it for those 3 years. And we regularly talk to people that have been in business for 20 and 30 years and haven't found that balance that I'm going to say you found balance, Ben. Whether you choose to embrace the balance or not is another question. However, you have definitely found balance in your business.
Yep, that's very accurate.
Yeah. So I think it's time to talk a little bit about awards. And Ben, maybe you can share. So you've won twice the same award, 2 years in a row. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Would you like to share?
I'm correct.
What award it was? We do have a bit of a lag. So if everybody's thinking, man, he's very considered. No, it's a lag.
He's trying to understand our accent.
Yeah. Touche. Ben,
I think my brain is buffering.
I've got the spinning wheel of death. Ben, what award did you win? And can you share a little bit about maybe talk about the very first time you entered?
So the award that I've won both years is the top of the trade the sole trader one.
Mm-hmm.
And entering it for the first time, well, for both times really has been, it's hard for me to write down and consider a lot of positive things about something that I've made or something that I've done. As you guys well know, I'm not very good at celebrating my successes. Mm-hmm. And the first time I did it, it felt fantastic to actually sit back and physically write down good things that I've done and celebrate the success that I've had, and also be able to sit back and just look at the creation on paper, which was fantastic. And the night that we had the awards come out, all of us sitting in the room was, one of the best parties with the best people that I've ever had, especially in business.
I love hearing everybody in the room cheer for the winners.
It's the coolest.
Regardless of the fact that they had entered and, didn't get the gong. I've been to various business awards over the years, and it seems that most commonly the non-winners kind of like, and they turn back and drink another glass of their wine because it's like, oh, you got it. I thought I was going to get that.
Yeah.
There's an amazing collegiate atmosphere amongst the tradies who enter our awards.
I think my favourite last year was Warwick when it was a non-client that won the very big award, top of the trade.
Yeah.
Actually, wasn't it? They won their section there, and then there's a top of everything award, and they won that. And our entire community was still so excited. It was just amazing to see that everybody is there, not selfishly, they're all there because of what it does for the trades, that it promotes that positive voice, that we have an opportunity to reflect.
I think they're there to celebrate progress and growth. And I want to point out to listeners that the judging of the awards is not done by Coxie and I. So lots of our clients obviously enter the Tradies in Business Excellence Awards. We do have non-clients who enter, as Nick's just pointed out. But the judging is done by non-employees of Tradies in Business. Usually we go out to other business experts or other mentors that we know in the community, and the different judges every year. So the fact that Bin Chicken has he's on a 2-peat now, see if you can go the 3-peat, mate.
Got to do the 3-peat.
I think is even more. Anyway, I can't think of the word. It's more better because it was different judges both years, and he still won it twice. So I just wanted to point that out.
A lot very gratifying knowing that there's no it sort of takes away any imposter syndrome, might be the word, of saying, oh, these guys know me or whatever. It's unbiased people that you've never talked to.
Yeah, that's right.
That are judging that sort of thing.
Business people who
so you can't hide from it.
Yeah.
But you can't bribe them either.
So that's a reasonable segue, Ben. So you won a couple of awards. So what? You got, fancy plaques and a handshake and a cuddle from me. But tell our listeners, I guess, so what? So you won a couple of awards. What's it meant to you, done for you, if anything? Just be honest, mate.
Like I sort of talked about before, the main thing that it's done for me is it just forced me to say, okay, you're doing good, and stand back and look at what you've done and say, okay, now you've come this far. What are your next steps? And use it as you said at the start, impetus to keep moving forward and say, what's the next thing?
Yep, I love
that. Really is the biggest thing for me.
Nice.
Ben, I think what you're describing, I'm going to paraphrase this if it's okay, and put some other words around this for those that are listening on the off chance that these words might work for them. I feel like it gave you the opportunity to step into business owner mindset. And then that's how you were looking at the company rather than being in it. In the everyday business life, we are in the business. Whereas to do something like this, you have to sort of step outside and look at it holistically.
Yep, absolutely. That's a great way to put it. Sort of makes me look at it from a bird's eye perspective, as looking at the company as me running it, and the company as a whole, and how it benefits the industry and benefits the people that I work with.
Totally. So Ben, was it hard to do? Like we've had a lot of people say, "Oh, I can't do that; it's too hard." And having entered awards myself over the years, sometimes they are very hard. I'd love to get your perspective though, because I feel like we've made this easy, but I'd like to hear it from you. Was it easy or was it hard?
Entering the awards is easy.
It was easy. Thank God you said that.
Well, it's definitely easy. It's hard for me to write down the positive things for a start.
Yes.
But getting to the point of writing them down and going through the process was easy, as there was no sort of barriers for me to jump over or get through to get to that point at all.
So
and once I get the momentum, it's...
Sorry.
No, that's all right.
The internet lag is just ever so slight, but it's enough for me to totally miss the cues.
Where are you sitting right now, Ben?
In my mobile office unit.
and roughly where in Australia?
I'm actually sitting in Perth.
Oh, that's why the internet's so shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're in the middle of nowhere.
Sitting in the yard in Perth. Yeah. Yeah. I will be shortly having Starlink mounted to the roof of my vehicle, so it should be anywhere that I go, internet.
That's very cool.
Nice.
Ben, I'd like to know, knowing you as well as we do, we know that it is very hard for you to look positively over your achievements. And I wondered if there was something you did to prepare yourself to do so each year, because I think it would be quite specific to the trades. We have this tall poppy syndrome. We don't like to look at the things that we've done well. We don't like to give ourselves any credit. We certainly don't like talking ourselves up, which is required as part of entering the awards, unless somebody else does it for you, of course. So I wondered whether when you sat down to write your applications, if there was something you did to get you in the right headspace to be able to do so.
Yeah, most definitely there was. As you both know, I like looking at facts a lot. So that was my first point of call was, okay, what are the facts of this last year or the last couple of years of business, and black and white, what have you done? And then from there, I could be like, okay, now putting an emotional veil over that, how has that been a success? And then elaborating on it like that, instead of trying to celebrate for the sake of celebrating. I've had to sort of break it down a little bit, which really helped. So all that I really had to do in the end was take the facts and make it sound good, which then made me feel good, and allowed the judges to like what I wrote.
Yeah.
Did you get help, Ben? Like, we have met and are very privileged to know your lovely fiancée, Cindy. Did she help you out with writing the applications, or did you do it all yourself?
I did 90% of it myself, and all of the grammar was her.
She translated.
Yeah, she translated to Australian English. Took out 50% of the bros.
Oh, that's fantastic. I think I'm glad we came to that point, because I feel like it can feel daunting when you're doing it yourself, but it can be a collaboration between you. And then my favorite part, now Warwick and I think both of us are the same. I don't read any of the submissions as they come in. I read them after the awards are done. And I do that because I don't want to set up in my head who I think the winner should be, and then the judges make a choice. What I like to do is then go back and reflect over their notes and understand how they came to their decision. But I do like to read through the submissions, and my very favourite ones are the ones where it's come from somebody else. So it's the tradies nominating the real boss, the tradie wife, for the award, or vice versa. The tradie wife is nominating her husband or partner for the award, or somebody's nominating one of the team members, or more importantly, the apprentice. And I just love them. They are my favourite, because I know how much consideration has gone into it. I know what it means to then read that back yourself, or understand that somebody cared enough and acknowledges you enough to take the time to pop in a submission for that person. It can be such a benefit for your team as a whole, whether it be just the tradie and the tradie wife nominating one another, or if it's someone within the team. Or last year we even had a submission from a team about a boss, didn't we?
Yes, that's right.
And it ended up winning. It was a beautiful submission. Yeah. So I think that often it can be hard for us to do it, but to make it a collaboration or to jump up and nominate someone else can be super beneficial. Ben, when Cindy read over to correct your grammar, I can imagine that it would have been, or it could have had the potential to be quite surprising for her to have read and understood the journey that you'd been on in the business during that time. Even though she's very much there and in the thick of it with you, I think when you step outside of it, it presents a little differently.
Yeah, absolutely. That was really lovely when she was helping me polish everything off. She got to look back, like you're saying, at everything that I've written and achieved over the last 12 months, 2 years. And on top of that, also pull me out on if I was trying to hold back from celebrating or writing something else down that I haven't thought about. And it sort of helped me, improve on my outlook on what's been achieved. That was another wonderful thing. And this year's nomination, she's also going to be a lot more involved in writing everything out with me as well.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's a good point you make, Ben, about downplaying the successes. And look, that's a huge theme for today's episode, I guess, is I think for anybody, I was going to say particularly for the blokes and the tradies, which is that stereotypical, guys on the tools, partners helping either in the office or in the background or running the business, but certainly not doing the work on the tools. But I think it's for both sides of the fence. We've had submissions either about or from tradie wives and partners for the Real Boss Award. And it's hard to not downplay it, because I think it just loops back to that whole thing of you don't want to feel like a wanker blowing your own trumpet and big noting yourself and bragging. And there's this real weird thing amongst people being reluctant to say, I did a bloody great job of that and I'm really proud of it. Like, it's just, That feels weird to so many of us. Even to you not being an Australian, Ben. You're an honorary Australian. But we do. We think it's an Aussie thing, but it's not really. I think it's the world over, really. And I think it's a really shit habit that we all have. So it's great to hear you talk about that support from Cindy, almost saying, Ben, I can just hear it now. Ben, you did way better than this.
You did bloody real well.
Don't let Cindy listen to this episode, please, or at least bleep out this before when you do.
Mates,
and it is like it's like a muscle as well, repeating this process every year on, trying not to downplay and accepting what I've done. Every year it does get easier, and you know what to expect from myself as far as, looking back and writing it down and not downplaying it.
That's right.
On that, Ben, do you have any tips on writing your submission? Because some people really struggle with what they feel like they should be putting into a submission. So did you have anything in particular, maybe even that Cindy pointed out, that should be added or taken away? Any tips at all?
I'd say my biggest tip would be write it as you would say it, not trying to make a perfect essay that you'd read in a book or anything like that. Just as you'd have a conversation to someone, try and write it in your own tone.
Love that.
Which really sort of lets your personality shine through. And Cindy would say full stops, commas, and correct grammar.
Now, as a judge of other awards, and I think Warwick and I have spoken about this before on the show even, it is so important to have your personality shine, because it can be really challenging. I do 2 awards every year, and there can be dozens upon dozens of submissions, and it can be very hard to remember one person from the next. There is some structure in place so that you can make notes with ours. However, letting your personality shine is a very quick fire way to ensure that you actually stand out from the crowd. It's just so important. Even remembering, I can speak about our judges this year. We have a social media marketer, Amy Waihu, and we have an accountant, a finance guy. So they're both they both have very big personalities. They're looking for very different things in the submissions. I'm really struggling to remember Rakesh. Rakesh has been on the show before as well. So I feel like that's the bit that people will attach to, will be the personality side of what's going on. Of course, you need some evidence. So the more evidence you can provide, I think really backs up what you're saying. I think that's very important. But don't be afraid to include photos as well. It's when we can make a physical connection or an emotional connection to somebody, it's much easier for us to remember them when it comes to the judging part of the awards. So please take Ben's advice and let your personality shine through.
Just don't include a photo of a bin chicken. You'll be fine. Because they are pretty ugly.
I will be.
Disappointed if you don't now.
I've even got a tool in my toolbox called the bin chicken. I'll send you a photo of it, and you'll see it as soon as I'm holding it.
Like long pliering things at the end, doesn't it?
Oh, it looks like a bin chicken. There's no other way to explain it.
Can't wait for the photo.
I'll send you a photo after this.
Well, Ben, I look forward to seeing you on stage, gathering your 3-peat award this year, mate. Not trying to jinx you or Joni you or anything, but mate, you're doing great stuff in your business, and I think, win, lose or draw, it's always fantastic to just have a crack and have a go at these things. It costs bugger all. As you said before, it's pretty simple to actually enter, and the spin-off benefits in terms of bang for buck of all the things you can do for your own headspace as a business owner, and for the people around you as well, to really highlight to them how you're doing and what your story is. I think it's a great way to enroll the people in your life. So for those of you listening, if you're a solo operator or even if you've got 20 staff, entering awards like the Tradies and Business Excellence Awards, of course, are a fantastic way just to wave the flag for everybody, not just, to win a plaque and stick it on the wall. So, Ben, thanks for waving the flag for tradiepreneurs everywhere, mate. And bin chickens, represent. Look forward to seeing you in Adelaide for the big ceremony and perhaps sharing a fermented grape juice or two.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Sounds so appetizing.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you guys very much.
Thanks for listening.
Business parents. Anyway.